Hey guys, Heidi Easley here, and I teach women how to make money teaching paint parties online, in person, and through art kits. And I'm going to show you a step-by-step on how to do this truck and tree. This is one of our top sellers. We've had tons of people pay for their Christmases and vacations, summer vacations, and so much more using this truck and tree. So I wanted to make sure we had something for y'all to use so that you could see if you wanted to teach paint parties, whether it's in person or do online paint parties. So I'm going to show you, I know this is a popular, this one's been popular for quite a while, but I'm going to show you just a strategy I use for it that makes it really, really simple, but you also get a lot of really fun shading, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start. So I'm going to use red first, a Tuscan red. And I'm basically just gonna paint the entire thing. And you can also do this on canvas. So those of y'all that are kind of like, oh, I don't have a wood cutout, I'm not really sure how to get a wood cutout, you can do this on canvas or on wood. So this is just a piece of wood that you can either order from somebody online, or if you are handy, you can cut it yourself. My husband has cut a ton of truck and trees for me, and then sometimes we order them as well online, and we have some resources that we can share with y'all later on where to get them. If not, use the tracer and go ahead and do your own canvas version, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just basically fill this entire thing in with red. And it doesn't have to worry, once you have it kind of on there, you can see where the lines still are. So in pencil, I had drawn the lines, but we're gonna go right back over them. So right now, we just need a coat of red. And I wanted to say thank you so, so much. So this tutorial that you're getting, you are also getting marketing materials with it. So here's the coolest thing. After you paint it, and hopefully you like it once you finish painting it, I would love for you to post a picture on your Facebook page or your Instagram, because you can put either your town name or even your last name. And so what's really cool is you could do this and actually give them away as Christmas presents, or people could order them from you. So we've had a lot of people with really great luck paying for their Christmas just by doing some commissions. You know, you could paint one and then sell it for $45 or $55, and then they could use it as a door hanger for their door, and they could put a wreath around it, or behind it, I guess I should say. And then you could put their name right here, either using a stencil cutter, or if you're okay at freehand, you could freehand it as well. So yeah, there's some really, really cool opportunities for you to make money doing something fun. It's really awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of take this 1-inch brush and bring it around. I'm just going around the window. Again, it doesn't matter if it's too messy, because if you make a mistake, you can always turn it into something new. Okay, so we got our red. That's simple. That's all we had to do to get the red down. Now, in order to make it have a little bit of a vintage look, we're gonna take some black paint, and I'll show you where to place this black paint. All right, and I'm just using Deco Art lamp. And then I'm going to just kind of take the black, my brush is still messy. I'm just gonna kind of, where those pencil lines were, start to get those back where they belong, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of get those lines in there, little bit of a line here. And this is where you can literally like stop and pause me if you want, and just kind of copy exactly where I put these lines if you're nervous. So I'm just dipping into the paint, back and forth. My brush is still red, back and forth. And I'm just adding in these lines where they go. Just kind of some right here, a little bit on the wheel. I hope I'm saying that right. A little bit on the ends. Kind of rough it up on the ends here. Almost like I'm just kind of going on top of it. Nothing major. And again, you can pause, start and stop if you need to. I'm just gonna bring this down. Just a little bit for the door handle. Okay, now I'm gonna rinse this brush in some water. I'm gonna wipe it off a little bit so I can grab a little bit of black with some red, and I'm just gonna bring it over here and mix it so it has kind of like a you know, not a maroonish, but it just has a tint to it. Now that I have that tint, I can go in and just kind of messy this up. I want to just vintage this truck. If I end up getting too much black, just dip it back into the red. And I just want this truck to not look so red. I want to mess it up. And this is where I find, like, you know, are you a perfectionist? This is where you will be able to tell if you're a perfectionist or not. You will know real quick when you start to do this process. So if you are like freaking out right now, I want you to take a deep breath. Know that it is okay. You're just messing up a truck. Worst case scenario, you can just leave it all red, and that's not even bad. You could just leave it totally red if you want, or if you want more of a vintage feel, you can do this. Now, let's say, so like my dad growing up, he had a truck just like this, but it was blue. And every time he took off, we had a Great Pyrenees. We called him Big Dog. He was this giant Great Pyrenees. And my dad would take him in his blue truck, which always had a backfire. And so every time he would leave, it sounded like a shotgun was going off. And then he would take him through McDonald's, and he would, you know, get some hamburgers, and he would unwrap the hamburgers and he would chunk them out the back window to Big Dog, who was in the back of the truck. Now, every single time Big Dog went to McDonald's with my dad, he got 2 hamburgers and he would spit out the pickles. It was the funniest thing. Like, you'd always see like pickles left in the back of my dad's truck. So if you're a person who is doing a different color, so let's say I want to do a blue truck for my dad, I would still do blue with a hint of black and still have this kind of vintage flair to it, if that makes sense. So I would still have the blue all down, and then I would take a little hints of black and add it in there. Okay, so we vintaged it up a little bit. Now I'm going to take it one step further. I'm going to rinse my brush. Now I'm going to take one of my favorite color paints, a copper color. Copper, it's like a bright copper or just a regular copper. I'm just using a bright copper because that's what I have right here. And I'm just going to grab a smaller brush. Let me see. I'm just going to use a liner brush because it's right here by me and it's fast to get to. And I'm just going to kind of add it in like I'm washing it in. Just kind of wash it in. Actually, I don't like that one. Never mind, ignore me. So let's see, I made that mistake, so now I'm just rubbing it in. That's fine. I'm gonna rinse that. I'm gonna use the darker copper that I really like. Make sure this is the right one, yeah. This is just the original copper. And this is totally optional. You do not need to do this step. So if you don't have copper, don't worry, but I do love some metallics. So if I can bring metallics to a paint party or have somebody paint with metallics who maybe has never painted with metallics, I always try to have that. So I'm just gonna dip with like a 6 or 8 round and just kind of get some copper in there. Just here and there, nothing major. Almost like it's gonna just have kind of a rust look. Okay? All right, again, that step could totally be omitted and it wouldn't be a big deal. Okay, while I have my black out, I'm just gonna fill in the entire tire. So you can fill the entire tire with black. We'll go over with white and a grayish later. And it kind of sometimes when you cut these out yourself, sometimes you kind of have a flat looking tire, don't you? But it's okay. So you can see that my tire has kind of a similar like flat look, and it's just because of the way it was cut out. Again, you know, especially if you're hand cutting these, don't be too hard on yourself if it's not perfect. I promise, when you're done with your painting, you don't even think about that. Like, oh, that tire is a little bit weird, or this is a little bit strange. You really don't. You just go, oh, that's cute. Let me put that on my door, you know? And like I said, one year I made 3 different paintings for people. I think I made a blue one for my mom and dad. I made one for Bobby's parents. And then I made one for Bobby's he has 2 sets of parents because they had mom and stepdad and dad and stepmom. So I made it for all of them one year, like as part of their gift. I love doing paintings as Christmas gifts. Used to, I did it out of just, you know, not having enough money to buy Christmas gifts. And then it got to where it just was more meaningful, you know, like especially I think as we get older, we start to realize like, you know, the meaning of Christmas more. It's not about gifts, even though we all love gifts. And so it started getting to where, okay, like this person who really, I have no idea what to get them, but I know I can make them something really cool. Okay, so I'm gonna use festive green first. I'm just gonna take the big brush, and this part you're just gonna paint the entire tree festive green. We're gonna add layers, don't worry. And again, this is where if you're freaking out, you can literally make it these basic layers, and that's still okay. But if you're not freaking out and you wanna do what I'm gonna do in a minute, you can have some fun with it, and we're gonna make it a little bit more dimensional. But first, and this brush is still kind of wet and messy from here, but I don't really care. I think it's fun when you have your colors kind of mixed together. Plus, sometimes it just takes forever to wash out a brush. So when I teach people, I like for y'all just to know it's okay. It just kind of goes together, and that's fine. So I'm just gonna get all those kind of painted on first with this green. And then now we're gonna do a very technical blobbing, very technical blobbing technique that I use with all my paint parties and all my tutorials. We're gonna be blobbing with a Hauser dark green and a festive green. So if you've never used a festive metallic green, look at the difference. Totally different. Festive metallic green versus festive green. So you're gonna see the difference. And we're actually just going to be blobbing on some colors so that this tree doesn't look just like a basic tree. So I'm gonna use some of this really pretty metallic, and you gotta shake them pretty good. And try not to break your teeth when you open the bottles. I always get in trouble for that. And then this is a darker green. So I'm gonna start with the darker green first. I did not rinse my brush. And I'm just gonna kind of blob on here. So I'm using a 1-inch flat, dipping and blobbing. Dipping and blobbing. And this is so much fun. And then I like to kind of make this whole area a little bit darker. Right here, kind of towards the bank of it. And if you need to get just a hint of black in there, just to make that shadow a little darker, you can. You can point your brush over. Okay? Once you have that, just kind of wipe your brush off. You don't even have to rinse it. Just kind of wipe it off, and then you're going to go to the metallic green. Do the same type thing. Just kind of blobbing it on there. The goal is really to have 3 shades of green, so it's not all the same. And some people have literally taken like different colors and put dots in here to make it look like Christmas lights. I like to take white along with snow text to make it look like it's snowing. But I've seen it done all different ways. Like I said, this is one of our top sellers in the paint party business world. So whether you are teaching this online or doing kits this year, or you're doing commissions, or you're doing in-person parties, this one is one of the ones that we always are like, oh, thank goodness for that truck and tree, because it's just one of those paintings that is always not only fun to do, but no matter what, it just always brings back that classic Christmas feel, you know, where you just feel like you just want to cozy up and have a fireplace going and paint and watch Hallmark movies and drink coffee and have some tea or whatever you like to drink. Some of y'all might be drinking wine, I don't know. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a little gray, and I'm just gonna take this gray and fill it into the windows. Now, if you want, you could make, you could buy a silver, and you could make this all silver. So sometimes I'll bring, actually not sometimes, all the time at my in-person, I'll bring silver, and I will have it out so they can actually put that as the windows. And it just makes it a little bit shinier. You could use a smaller brush. I'm just kind of blobbing it in there, okay? All right, the same thing over here. Okay, so the same thing over here, I'm gonna do a little dot. Sorry, my daughter has a friend over and they are laughing in the background playing VR games. So if you hear a couple of girls, that is why. Okay, so all I did was just take a little round brush and just kind of make it round. In a second, we'll make a white color going around that as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to my liner brush. Again, a liner brush is just a really thin, small brush where you can write names, you can do a lot of fun stuff, but we're actually gonna take white paint and we're gonna start adding in some of the details. Okay, so again, this is a painting that if you just look at it can look very complicated, but it's really not that complicated at all. So I'm just gonna start grabbing this paint, and this is, again, if you wanna pause it, you can kind of pause and just see where I'm adding this paint. But what I want you to remember is I use my pinky for balance, but I'm really making it messy because, again, this is supposed to kind of be almost like snow. So it's just little strokes of paint. It's not like, oh my gosh, it has to be exactly right there. So, I mean, I think I've painted this painting probably 20 times at least, and probably more than that. It's kind of like Starry Night. I think I've painted Starry Night probably 100 times, no lie, because I've taught it so much and I've just loved that painting so much. But when you're painting this, remember, it does not have to, like, each little stroke doesn't have to be exactly where I put it. So I'm just gonna add one here. Some in here. I'm gonna add some right here like it's on this step. Okay, I'm just gonna keep adding snow here. Again, feel free to pause if you wanna do it exactly where I'm at, but don't feel like it has to be exactly where I have it. Just gonna put a couple lines in here. And then I'm gonna make this a little bit wider. This is gonna be my whitewash on the wheels. I love to paint more flat. Some people really love to paint with the with an easel, but I just really love to paint flat more. Okay, make this one a little bit smaller. Okay, all right, so now let me add some white to the windows. And I'm just gonna do a horizontal line pulling it back that way. I can make it look like there's some snow in here, snow catching on that window. Just kind of think about naturally where the snow would catch. And if it doesn't look messy enough, messy it up. We're gonna add some dots of snow here in a second. Okay, so now we have that. So before I add the dots of snow, I always recommend coming in and either writing like your town name or your last name if you're giving this to somebody or you're keeping it for yourself. So either your last name or your town name before you add the snow, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and add a name here. I'm just gonna put, Fixer Upper Farms. Or I'll put Magnolia Farms. That'll be cute. So I'm just gonna freehand it. If you have a crooked or a silhouette, I recommend doing a little stencil, but if you don't have it, just do the best you can. You could also write it first, either with chalk, with a pencil, or you could even write it with a paint pen. I think I have a paint pen, hold on. Or I could just probably write it with a Sharpie. That'd probably be easier and then go over it. So I'm just gonna lay my hand down. Okay, so I'm just gonna do Magnolia Farms. I did it in Sharpie first so that I can just easily trace over it. Again, if I had access to my white paint pen, I would just do that. That would be way easier. But since I don't, I want it to be in white or that bronze color, so I'm just gonna quickly write over this. Okay, and then now since I have that white showing there, I can always go back with a little bit of the red with a little bit of the black, mix it, and then just get in there whenever that dries a little bit more to make the little dots stand out. So I'm not gonna worry too much about that now. I can do that later. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my bigger brush, that one that was kind of like a round. I'm just gonna dip and then just start doing snow dots all over the truck. This should relieve some stress for sure. A little bit of white in there. And just make sure you re-dip a lot and make sure you also do it on the tree, come into the tires. And then in a second, I'm gonna show you a fun trick with snow text. Now, while I'm dotting, first off, again, I just wanna say a big thank you for getting this, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you are able to make some money off of this. And I also want you to remember, we have sent in your email, we have sent you the marketing flyer that you can literally use. So let's say you painted this and you did a good job. You could go ahead and take that marketing flyer and say, hey guys, I'm taking 2 orders for Christmas. If somebody wants to have their name personalized or whatever you want to do, go ahead and post that on your personal page, your business page, and just see what happens. And let me tell you a little trick about how to not feel embarrassed if you don't sell anything. Here's my secret. So say, hey guys, I just finished this project. Should I add glitter? Okay. Now that should be your first post. The reason you do that is because glitter is a very controversial subject. Everyone has an opinion about glitter or no glitter. And so when you do that, what happens is so many people are going to see that, hey, you painted this. And it works even better if you paint it and you actually hold it while you're smiling and say, hey, I just finished this, should I add glitter? Now, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have tons of people that probably have never liked, touched, commented anything on your post are going to comment on this post. The reason why, I've tested it out 1,000 times with me, you, and everyone, and people just are very controversial about glitter. So I want you to do that because what will happen is there will be very, very, very many people that see what you have done and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, so-and-so's painting. Or maybe you have been painting a while, but you haven't posted anything in a while. And they're gonna go, oh wow, she started painting again, or I like that. Then what I want to challenge you with doing is I want to challenge you with, after you've done that, maybe in 2 or 3 days, you can say, hey guys, I got so much feedback from, oh, and I'm just going to put some white right here on the edge. You're just going to say, hey guys, I wanted to say thank you. I got so much positive feedback from the truck and tree. I'm taking a couple of commission orders. If anybody's interested, message me. I have 2 that I'll do. Maybe you only want to do 2, or maybe you only want to do 3. Just say however many. I wouldn't say like, hey, I can do 400, because then nobody has a reason to go, oh, I need to get that in there to her. But say, hey, I'm doing a couple of commission pieces. If you're interested, just send me a private message and we'll talk. And then that's all you do. So for example, if nobody messages you, hey, it's okay. But if nobody messaged you, nobody on Facebook knows that nobody messaged you. They don't know if 12 people messaged you or if 0 people messaged you. So then it kind of helps save face, where you're like, oh, I don't have to be embarrassed if nobody, said yes, or if nobody said they wanted to order one. But what I have found, being an artist and painting all the time and showing people that I'm always painting, because I'm consistent. So if you scroll through my Facebook, my personal Facebook or my business, you're going to see paintings, me in the studio, you're going to see stuff happening all the time. So the reason I'm telling you is, like, if this is, I call it a paint party adventure, and it's kind of like a paint party lifestyle, right? Because you want to do art for a living. This is Snowtex, by the way. Welcome. If you've never met this, welcome to your new best friend. It is very fun. It's like a fun texture to play with, and I love using this at paint parties, online events, and having people play with the snow. It's almost like a really fun texture just to play with. So you can use this and you can use glitter glue. Both make it magnificent. But yeah, so what I've learned about this is, the more I show people that I'm painting, the more I show people that I'm doing this kind of stuff, the more different, murals, projects, stuff like that people actually come to me about. And then I don't have to do so much advertising. I still show people all the time I'm painting, of course, but I don't have to do as much advertising because people already know, oh yeah, Heidi paints, Heidi paints, Heidi paints, Heidi does paint parties, Heidi teaches me online how to paint. Like, people know because I'm always posting. I'm very, very consistent. So I want you to know, if this is your first time getting out there, don't be discouraged. And because you have gotten this freebie from us, I want you to make money with this. I want you to use, like I said, in your email box right now, whether you're doing this on a canvas or a piece of wood, however you're going to do it, we have the marketing materials, the supply list, all of that ready for you so that you don't even have to think. All you got to do is paint and post. Can you do that for me? Paint and post. All right. Well, I hope y'all like this. Again, glitter glue, post that about the glitter glue. Check your email for the beautifully designed marketing materials from our graphic designer who does all of our graphic design in Paint Party headquarters, along with Brendan, who is amazing, who works full-time with us in Paint Party headquarters. If you want to know more about that, we open a couple times a year. And not only do we have this design, we have over 100 designs full of not only the design, where you have rights to it commercially to use to make money, you have fall designs, Christmas designs, spring designs, summer designs, everything you need, including hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ladies. At the time of this video, we have around 1,600 women in Paint Party headquarters that are all helping each other out. So I hope this helps you, and I hope you make some money, and let us know. If you don't mind, send me a message on Instagram at TexasArtandSoul_, or you can send me a message in Facebook if you had success with this. I would love to hear. All right, guys, enjoy, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.